Hello, students. Welcome back once again to your channel. All right, this time this video is for my class 11 students, and we shall be continuing with your Macbeth. And let me remind you, I've been using this Oxford edition. This is edited by Roma Gill. And before we begin, let me remind you, if you find this video interesting, please do not forget to give me a like and also to subscribe to my channel. It shall keep me motivated. All right, let us begin. Act 1, Scene 2. I have already covered Act 1, Scene 1. If you haven't watched this video, please go back and watch it. It is already there. Now, Act 1, Scene 2 takes place in the king's headquarters, the king being King Duncan, the King of Scotland. There is an alarm within. Enters King Duncan, Malcolm, his elder son, Donalbain, his younger son. There is Lennox and attendants meeting a bleeding captain. All right, before we begin the scene, let me clarify something to you, children. There is a battle going on, okay? Who is fighting the battle? There is the Thane of Cawdor on one side, the King of Norway, whose name is Sweno, on one side, and there is your MacDonald. These three people have revolted against the King of Scotland, that is Duncan. Now, King Duncan is an old king. Okay, so he cannot himself go to the battlefield to fight. So he has entrusted Macbeth and Banquo to go and fight on his behalf. So there is a person, a soldier who comes in from the battlefield to inform King Duncan whatever has been happening there. So who are the ones involved in the battle? MacDonald, King of Norway, whose name was Sweno, and the Thane of Cawdor. These three people have gone against the King of Scotland, King Duncan, and Macbeth and Banquo are fighting on behalf of King Duncan for Scotland. All right. So the bleeding captain comes in with information of the battle, and Duncan asks, "What bloody man is that? He can report as seemeth by his plight of the revolt the new estate." King Duncan is very amazed. He's surprised. He's shocked to see such a bloody man, a man covered with so much of blood. He's been badly injured in the battle. And so Duncan says he can report as seemeth by his plight. He can tell by seeing his condition, it is understood of the revolt, the new estate, of the condition of the battle as and when he had left it. Malcolm says, this, who's Malcolm? Malcolm is the eldest son of Duncan. This is the sergeant who, like a good and hardy soldier, fought against my captivity. Hail, brave friend, say to the king the knowledge of the broil, as thou didst leave it. So he says, Malcolm says, this is the sergeant, this is the soldier, who like a good and hardy soldier, who like a good and strong soldier, fought against my captivity, fought so well that the enemy could not capture me. Hail, brave friend, say to the king, tell the king the knowledge of the broil. Broil means battle. Tell the king how the battle has progressed as thou leavest it, as you left it. Captain, doubtful it stood, as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke thereout. It seemed very doubtful, the captain says, because both the parties seem to be like spent swimmers, extremely tired and exhausted swimmers. This is a simile that is being used here. The captain says both the parties looked like, both the enemy camp and our soldiers looked like spent swimmers, tired swimmers, because they have been fighting the battle for a long time. All right. As two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke thereon. They were so tired that it seemed like as if they were clinging on to each other instead of fighting. They were defeating their own effort. The merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles of kerns and gallow glasses is supplied, and fortune on his damned quarrel smiling showed like a rebel's hoe. That merciless MacDonald, the first one of the three people who had revolted against King Duncan, the merciless MacDonald, figure of speech here is an alliteration. Yes, MM, merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel. He was so merciless that he is fit to be a rebel only. For that, the multiple villainies of nature. He had multiple villainies of nature. That is, as many negativities as possible are present in him, do swarm upon him. From the western isles of kerns and gallow glasses is supplied. So from the western isles, from Hebrides and all that places, okay, he is supplied with kerns and gallow glasses. Kerns are foot soldiers and gallow glasses are those soldiers who fight on horseback. Okay, so MacDonald is constantly supplied with fresh soldiers repeatedly, and fortune on his damned quarrel smiling showed like a rebel's sword. And fortune here is personified. Fortune is compared to a woman here. Behaved like what? Behaved like a whore. Whore is a woman of bad character who is never loyal to anybody. Okay. So fortune behaved like a woman of bad character and kept favoring MacDonald. But all is too weak for brave Macbeth. Well, he deserves that name. Disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, with smoked with bloody execution, like Whaler's minion carved out his passage till he faced the sleep. So MacDonald was fighting extensively well. Okay, he was ferociously fighting. And why was he ferociously fighting? Because he was getting constant supplies of kerns and gallow glasses from the Western Isles, and nobody could, capture and defeat him. But all this was happening till the time he met Macbeth. Moment Macbeth came, what happened? He disdained fortune. He disregarded fortune. That is, even fortune felt ashamed in front of Macbeth. Fortune stopped favoring MacDonald. And with his brandished steel, that is with his sword, Macbeth, what did Macbeth do? With his sword, with smoke, with bloody execution. There was a lot of blood on Macbeth's sword. Like Whaler's minion, favorite of the courage. Whaler's minion means favorite of the courage. Carved out his passage till he faced that slave. So Macbeth walks in with his sword filled with blood. And then what happened? Which never shook hands, not bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the knave to the chaps. So Macbeth walks in with his sword, and without any formal intimation, without any formal handshake or goodbye, what did he do? He unseamed him from knave to the chaps, that is, from his navel till his chin. He ripped him apart and fixed his head on our battlement. And after that, what did he do? He chopped off his head and fixed it on the tall towers. So that is how Macbeth had killed MacDonald. And Duncan is extremely happy to know of this development. He says, "Oh, valiant cousin, worthy gentleman." So you see, I had told you in my first introductory video on Macbeth that it will show us the rise of the hero in the first half of the play. So this scene has already started doing that. It is the rise of the hero. Macbeth, who was only a captain in King Duncan's army, has now become brave Macbeth, has now become Whaler's minion. He is also a valiant cousin and a worthy gentleman. Now, King Duncan refers to Macbeth as a valiant cousin. So we cannot surely say, but then there seemed to be some sort of a relation between Duncan and Macbeth. Okay, some sort of family ties were there between Macbeth and King Duncan. That is why Duncan refers to Macbeth as cousin. So the captain goes on to report further, as when the sun gains his reflection, shipwrecking storms and direful thunders. Again, another simile. So from that spring whence comfort seemed to come, discomfort swells. So just like after a stormy weather, the sun shines and you feel there is all too well, everything is over, now there is no problem. The similar way, just after MacDonald's death, when everybody seen that the trouble is over, fresh problems arose. Mark, King of Scotland, mark, no sooner justice had, with valour armed, compelled the skipping kerns to thrust their heels, but the Norwegian lord, serving vantage, with furbished arms and new supplies of men, began a fresh assault. So just when everybody felt that the trouble is over, at that very moment, what happened? King Swino, that is the king of Norway, Norwegian lord here is the king of Norway, Swino. He thought that this was the most advantageous moment to attack, and he attacked with furbished arms, with fresh arms and new supplies of men. Okay, so there was a second attack on Macbeth and Banquo. Duncan says, dismayed not this our captains, Macbeth and Banquo? Were Banquo and Macbeth not surprised by this attack? Yes, as sparrows, eagles, or hare the lion. So the captain is trying to be a little humorous. He says, yes, as sparrows, eagles, or hare the lion. Yes, certainly Macbeth and Banquo were scared, but as scared as eagles would be seeing a sparrow, or a lion would be seeing a rabbit. In other words, an eagle can never get scared on seeing a sparrow. In the similar way, the lion can also never get scared on seeing a rabbit. So, what the captain is trying to mean is that they were not at all scared, they were not at all surprised of this sudden attack. So, here again, Macbeth and Banquo both are compared to eagles and lions. So we see numerous adjectives being given to Macbeth to show the rise in his career. And of course, the sparrow and the hare being the Norwegian lord. The captain goes on to say, if I say sooth, if I tell you the truth, I must report they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks. If I am to say you the truth, Macbeth and Banquo behaved like cannons with doubly charged cannons. So they doubly redoubled strokes upon the foe, and they attacked with in multiple ways, with reinforced fervor, with reinforced vigor. They attacked the enemy. Except they meant to bathe in reeking wounds or memorize another Golgotha, I cannot tell. And the attack was so ferocious from Macbeth and Banquo on the enemy that it seemed like they were trying to recreate another Golgotha. Now, Golgotha was the place where Jesus Christ was crucified and Christ was put on a cross. So, what happened when he was put on a cross? Drops of blood kept dripping down on the ground, and the entire ground was filled with blood, right? So, it was a very scene of very, very scary and heinous scene. The ground looked very, very scary. So, here, Macbeth and Banquo attacked the enemies in such a way that it seemed like there was so much of blood on the ground that it seemed like they were trying to recreate another Golgotha. But I'm faint, my gashes cry for help, but I'm unable to speak any further, O king, because my wounds are bleeding way too much and they needs to be attended. Duncan says, so well thy words become thee as thy wounds. They smack of honor both. So not only your words, your wounds are also racking of honor, because you have gone to the field to fight for the king, and also you have received these injuries on behalf of the king, and you have given me news that are beneficial to the king. So in the Elizabethan era, the king was always looked upon as the representative of God on earth. All right. So it becomes very important to be in the good books of the king and to serve the king, because to serve the king would mean automatically you were serving God. And religion was very, very important an aspect of social life in 16th century England. So Duncan says they smack of honor both. And now go get him surgeons. The captain exists, and now enters Ross and Angus. Now, Ross and Angus are two noblemen. They are the lords of different places in Scotland. Okay, and they are titled as Thane. That's right. Who comes here? Malcolm says it's the worthy Thane of Ross. Thane, I told you just now, it's a lord, the kind of deputy ruler kind of a thing. The Thane of Ross has come here. Lennox says, what a haste looks through his eyes. So should he look that seems to speak things strange. His eyes look as though he is in a lot of hurry. He is in a lot of hurry to tell something. Ross, God save the king. And he immediately says, God save the king. Whence camest thou, worthy Thane? Where are you coming from, worthy Thane? Ross says, from Fife. Now, many people call it Fifey, but no, it is wrong, my dear children. It's Fife. From Fife, great king, where Norwegian banners flout the sky and fan our people cold. So, I'm coming from Fife, okay? And what has happened there? Norwegian banners, the flags of Norway are flying in the sky, and they are making our people cold in fear. Of course, today we are sitting in one country, and if we see one fine morning some other country's flag is flying, won't we feel scared that whether we have been captured by the other country or not, we do not know. Whether our independence is gone or not, we do not know. So that is why the people of Fife were extremely scared. Fife is in, of course, Scotland. People of Fife were extremely scared because they woke up one fine morning and found that the flags of Norway are flying in the sky. Norway himself, with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Quarter, began a dismal conflict. And so what happened? Norway, the king of Norway, Swino, what did he do? He, along with the Thane of Cawdor, began a dismal conflict. He started another battle. Till that Bellona's bridegroom lapped in proof. Till the time they met Macbeth. Bellona's bridegroom is no one else but Macbeth. So Bellona is the Roman god of war, and Macbeth is said to be the husband of this Roman god of war. So that is the adjective being given to Macbeth for him being so brave and ferocious. Till that, Bellona's bridegroom, lapped in proof, confronted him with self comparisons, point against point, rebellious arms against arm, curbing his lavish spirit, and to conclude, the victory fell on us. So, what happened? The Thane of Cawdor, along with the king of Norway, had launched an attack on the people of Fife. And then what happened? Macbeth came, and he confronted them. And Macbeth fought so bravely that the victory came in favor of King Duncan. So you see here, Macbeth is again referred to as Bellona's bridegroom, that is the husband of the Roman god of war. He's so brave and so ferocious. So first we see that he's been called, that this captain had referred to him that as a brave Macbeth, Whaler's minion, and Duncan has called him a valiant cousin and worthy gentleman. And then the captain has again referred to Macbeth as the eagle and the lion. So all these adjectives go on and on. In fact, now Ross has called him Bellona's bridegroom. So all these adjectives help us to realize that Macbeth's career has started rising northwards. The rise in his career has already started. So Duncan is extremely happy to know of this development and he says, great happiness. Ross says, this is an additional information which Ross gives, that now Swino, the Norway's king, craves composition. Swino, the king of Norway, is asking for negotiation. Composition is negotiation. Nor would we dine him burial of his men, till he disbursed at St. Combs Inch $10,000 to our general use. So, King of Norway has been asking for negotiation, but we are not going to get into any sort of negotiation till the time he gives us $10,000 for general use. And where is he supposed to give this? At St. Combs Inch. So King of Norway is supposed to give Duncan, or rather the state of Scotland, $10,000 at St. Combs Inch as a fine for going against the king. Okay, and if King of Norway is not allowed, if the King of Norway decides not to give this money, then he will not be allowed to bury his dead soldiers here. Of course, it is not possible to carry so many dead soldiers back, so he has to bury here. So that is the clause given by the state of Scotland on the King of Norway. Duncan says, no more that Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Go pronounce his present death. So Duncan here orders that no more that Thane of Cawdor shall remain in his office, because he has dared to go against the king. So go pronounce his present death. Go and execute him, murder him. And with his former title, great Macbeth. And this position, this post of the Thane of Cawdor should be awarded to Macbeth. Why? Because of his exemplary show in the battle. Ross says, I will see it is done. Duncan says, what he had lost, noble Macbeth has won. And the scene ends there. So Duncan says, whatever the Thane of Cawdor has lost, Macbeth has won it. Now, this is a very, very ironical comment by King Duncan. Little does he know that the Thane of Cawdor loses what? Loses his title because of his disloyalty. Similarly, Macbeth, because of his loyalty, gains the Thane of Cawdor, the title of Thane of Cawdor. But as the play will progress, we will see this Thane of Cawdor, Macbeth, will become the most disloyal person ever, and he is going to be the one who's going to murder Duncan. So this comment, what he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won, is very, very ironical. The title of Thane of Cawdor thus becomes very, very significant. The handing over of the title becomes very, very important for the plot development in the play. All right, students. So this is the scene. I hope this explanation of mine could help you understand this scene in a better way, and it will help you score the maximum in your exams. Okay. So if this video seems to be helpful for you, please do not forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. It shall keep me motivated. Okay, so see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye, have fun, stay healthy.